buy recommendation at the moment.
Mehraboon, you're talking a lot about cement stocks. So if you don't want to play Ultratech Cement, do you think Grasim is the better way to play it?
No, I think both, according to me, are quite rich in terms of valuations. Ultratech certainly yes, but definitely a stock which I think if you ask 9 out of 10 fund managers, especially among mutual funds, that which is a top pick, they are going to say Ultratech, irrespective of where the valuation is. If this stock possibly corrects a little bit more from the present level, maybe when I say a little bit more, could be around 10% more, I think it's definitely a stock which is going to come back on the radar of many fund managers.
Okay. Sudeep, two stocks that have been hit by regulatory news are Sun TV and Nestle. Both those stocks are playing for a good bounce today. As a long-term investor, would you put your money in either names?
Well, I think, I will prefer Sun TV. I think, the entire regulatory issue around it caused tremendous discomfort, and there was a huge selling as we saw yesterday. But look, there are limits to which things can go bad. It cannot happen that all these channels will be shut down overnight. There is nothing drastic which has happened in that company. And there is a regulatory process. There are the court processes, and we have seen it play out in the radio business earlier. If at all there is any adverse judgment, a decision by the ministry, I'm sure they will go to the court for relief. So I think this is a good opportunity to buy Sun TV. They will definitely overcome these issues. On the other hand, Nestle, while I have great confidence in the company and its products, I think the valuation still is rich. I don't like the company's valuation even now. Fundamentally, it's a good script, it's a good story, but the valuation is rich.
And we were talking about a couple of stocks earlier, some winners, ABB India as well as moving higher. Pull up Thermax, that stock in fact is moving higher in a very weak market. So just pull up that stock, you'll see that Thermax has spiked up by close to around 4% approximately, moving to the high point of the day. But let's get in Kunal. Kunal, I was looking at the Nifty, it's still protecting that 8,000 level, but Mahindra & Mahindra, if I pull up that stock, it's moving to the day's low. Fundamentally, Sonia would help us out in terms of what's good and bad about the counter, but could you tell us how's it looking on the charts?
Well, I think it looks okay, because I think if you try and compare it with any of the other big wigs, I think like and the way the charts are positioned, I think Mahindra & Mahindra is still in an isolated zone. It's still consolidating, so I think if probably the time frame is almost 3 to 4 months, I think the range for Mahindra & Mahindra could be around 1130, 1145 on the downside, and probably 1275, which is the 200-day moving average. But Nigel, just coming to the point on Nifty, I think what we've seen over the last 1 week, I think end of May expiry and so far till yesterday at least, the options data as well as the open interest data for futures. If you look at the futures, there has been 500 crore shares which have been built up in the OI, and Nifty was down almost 3.3% till yesterday. You look at the options data, the range for Nifty is almost 8,000 on the put, and 8,300 is where the maximum OI is concentrated more or less. So the markets are telling you that probably 8,000 is a very critical aspect, and generally when you come very closer to a very make or break or a very critical level, the markets have to break that level with a gap down opening. Only then you see a spiraling effect and probably a continuation of the trend. So I think tomorrow's day could be a very crucial day, because if we manage to break 8,000 and open below that, I think that could probably spell some more worry in the short term.
Nestle, Nigel, in the last 5 minutes, the stock has zoomed and is now sitting with a gain of almost 10%. Wow. That's 500 rupees in like less than about half an hour or 1 hour on Nestle. Some serious buying taking place over there, and volumes too are quite high, by the way, compared to what Nestle does on an average, about 5 lakh shares being traded currently. So big volumes on the Nestle stock. What would you do with this one now, Mehraboon?
Honestly, anything with regulatory problems, I think it takes very long to settle down. But I think on your ticker this morning, I read the news about the Singapore regulator
clean chit
approving it, green chit. I think it's a very big positive, I would say, for Nestle. And since you said the stock reacted only in the last half an hour, either the market has woken up late, or maybe I think the reason. What I think the reason should be, I could be wrong, and that could be something else. But at the end of it all, I think stocks like Nestle, Glaxo Consumer, all extremely, extremely expensive. But you don't feel like selling them off.
Yeah, that's a good...
So I think at 6,000 rupees, if somebody goes and buys into it, if he's ready to chase this event-based risk, I think it's worth it.
You know, that's a valid point because we just look at it, Nestle contributes 30% of the total sales and the stock has corrected 20-25% from these days lows. In fact, it would be sitting with a cut of around 26% from the top. So maybe there is some talk that, in fact, most of those Maggi sales, they could have been factored in, but that's all talk currently. The stock is doing well. Volumes at around 300 to 350 crores approximately. So Deep, let's get you in terms of some winners. The biggest gain on the Nifty has been BPCL. It's higher by close to around 150%. Would you be looking at any of these OMCs, or do you think they've done their jig?
Well, I think to a great extent they have done their bit. I don't see them gaining much from current levels. Of course, event-specific and company-specific things can happen. But as far as oil marketing companies are concerned, I think they have reached the peak.
All right.
But Mehraboon, let's get your view on a couple of those stocks. Then Titan, that stock has seen a big correction from around 450 all the way to around 350 odd. Would you look at it or would you just wait by?
I think if I was holding it at this present price, I would continue to hold on to it.
Yeah.
But putting in incremental money at this present level in a scenario in which I personally feel nothing much is going to change, at least for the next 1 or 2 quarters, not in a hurry to buy or put in more money at the moment. I think great company and possibly one of the best managements, I would say, in the country today.
Okay, well, that's the word on Titan. But Kunal, just wanted to get your view on what you see as the trend for the market for the rest of this series. I mean, you were saying that, the 8,000 level looks like it could be taken out very soon. But what would the next support level be that one should watch out for?
I think, Sonia, I think if you recap the last 7 days, I think post the RBI policy or probably the day of the RBI policy, Nifty was at 8440, 8450 odd. In the next 2 days, I think on the RBI policy and the next day, you saw a cut of 350 odd points on Nifty, it dropped to 8100. The next 4 days, the markets have corrected only 100 points odd. But you look at the kind of stocks which have seen the carnage. As you mentioned rightly, started the show, names like Apollo Tyres. Today you had Bharat Forged and many of these tire companies, etc. So my sense is I think the markets gradually may probably try and grind towards 7800, and I believe that the base for Nifty could probably from the short term perspective could be very well around the 7850, 7860 mark. So I think if 8000 breaks, in the next support which short term traders can actually look at would be that 7850 odd mark on Nifty spot.
All right, Kunal, that point is well taken actually. This RBI policy meetings, they have been, Sonia, like as if you're preparing for the party, you hit the party and in fact it's all over. Maybe you had too many drinks or something like that. But it seems like that because every time we run into the event, we get that 25 basis point cut. I've seen it earlier this year as well.
Market tops out.
Yeah, you're preparing for that big party and suddenly you get what you want and you're not happy with it. Suddenly
everyone's exited the party and then you're left there alone.
Yeah, seems like that. But let's get in Sudeep. Sudeep, what's your view on some of these counters like something like an Asian Paints?
I think it's a great company. The entire market has corrected, so Asian Paint also has taken a hit. But overall, we continue to remain extremely bullish on companies like Asian Paints. The full benefit of oil price, coming down of the crude prices is going to be reflected in Asian Paints' performance from probably next quarter. And they have moved into interesting segments also apart from paints. We have to yet to see how they perform in those segments like the kitchen appliances and things like that. But overall, I think continues to be a leader with a great marketing strategy and the brand, excellent management. Valuations look a bit stretched, but I think still one of the best buys in the consumer space in India at this stage.
Okay, so before we go, Sudeep, leave us with some of your own stock recommendations. If investors are looking to increase their allocation in this market now, what are the 2 or 3 stocks that you would recommend, either from the frontliners or from the mid-caps?
Well, I think 2 stocks I will like to talk about, Sonia. One is ITC Limited. I think, we have seen the stock getting badly hit. Probably in the recent memory, it has never been hit like that. But in the entire FMCG pack, if somebody has to buy something for maybe benefits within 6 months to 1 year, ITC is a stock one can buy. The rural slowdown and things like that doesn't affect the cigarette sales to the extent which it impacts an HLL or a Dabur or a Imami. So ITC is the stock to buy. The other company we have identified and we are bullish on is Arvind. It's a great story. It's getting converted from a denim manufacturer to a branded garments play, brand and retail in particular. 4 of their brands, which includes Arrow, is doing great. Some 5-6 other brands they are nurturing. We have a target of around 325 on the stock, and we recommend buying it with 1 year plus time horizon.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for all of those stocks that you discussed. So perhaps there is still some nibbling that you can do in this